After Ryan's father left the principal's office, he walked down the school hallway, his expression firm and thoughtful. He had done his best to remain composed in front of the principal, but the weight of the situation bore heavily on his shoulders. He needed answers, and he needed them fast. As he approached the exit, he spotted a familiar face leaning against a set of lockers. Daniel, Ryan's best friend. The boy was staring at his phone, looking distracted. Ryan's father took a deep breath and approached him. "Daniel," he said, his voice steady but low. Daniel looked up, surprised. "Mr. Turner? Hi. Can we talk?" Mr. Turner asked, gesturing to a quieter corner of the hallway. Daniel hesitated but nodded, following him. Once they were alone, Mr. Turner turned to face him, his expression serious. "Daniel, I need your help. It's about Ryan." Daniel's eyes widened. "Ryan? Is he okay? Have you heard anything?" "I'm working on proving his innocence," Mr. Turner said, "but I need someone I can trust to keep an eye on things here at school." Daniel looked puzzled. "What do you mean?" Mr. Turner leaned in slightly, lowering his voice. "I need you to monitor Evelyn." "Evelyn?" Daniel asked, frowning. "Why her?" "I believe she may hold some answers," Mr. Turner explained. "Ryan reached out to her, and I suspect he may have shared something important with her. If you notice anything suspicious, anything at all, I need you to let me know immediately. And Daniel—" He paused, his tone firm. "This conversation stays between us. No one else can know." Daniel's expression shifted from confusion to concern. "I don't know, Mr. Turner. Evelyn's a good person. I don't think she'd do anything—" "I'm not accusing her of anything," Mr. Turner interrupted gently. "I'm just trying to gather evidence that might help Ryan. I need to be sure." Daniel hesitated, then nodded slowly. "Okay, I'll do it. But what if I don't find anything?" "Then we'll know she's not involved," Mr. Turner said. "This is about clearing Ryan's name, Daniel. Nothing more." Daniel took a deep breath. "All right, I'll keep an eye out. But if this gets weird, I'm out." Mr. Turner gave him a small, grateful smile. "That's all I ask. Thank you, Daniel." With that, Mr. Turner straightened and walked toward the exit, leaving Daniel standing in the hallway, deep in thought. The weight of his friend's situation now felt heavier on his shoulders. As the bell rang, signaling the next class, Daniel resolved to keep his promise, even as a strange unease settled in his chest. Meanwhile, Evelyn sat in her classroom, oblivious to the secret conversation that had just taken place. She stared at Ryan's letter folded in her book, the cryptic words still fresh in her mind. She couldn't shake the feeling that she was missing something important, and that whatever it was only just beginning. The Unspoken Truth continued. Evelyn sat at her desk, her fingers nervously tracing the edges of the letter from Ryan tucked inside her notebook. The classroom was alive with chatter, but her mind was far away, caught in the web of mystery surrounding Ryan's cryptic words. She couldn't stop replaying the conversation with his father in the principal's office. "If you receive anything unusual from him, don't hesitate to reach out." "Evelyn," Sarah's voice pulled her out of her thoughts. She looked up to see her best friend sliding into the seat beside her. "What happened with the principal? You've been quiet all morning." Evelyn hesitated, glancing around to make sure no one was listening. She leaned closer to Sarah and whispered, "It wasn't just the principal." "Ryan's father wanted to see me." Sarah's eyebrows shot up. "Ryan's father? Why?" Evelyn took a deep breath, her fingers curling tightly around her notebook. "He wanted to know if Ryan had reached out to me. He even asked to see the letter Ryan sent." Sarah's eyes widened. "What? Did you show him?" "No," Evelyn said quickly. "I told him it was personal, just between friends. But it convinced me, Sarah. There's more to this letter. And the book Ryan gave me, it's not just a book. He's trying to tell me something." Sarah's gaze softened, and she gave Evelyn's arm a reassuring squeeze. "Okay. Lunchtime. We'll figure this out together." Evelyn nodded, feeling a flicker of relief. Sarah always knew how to make things feel manageable. As they spoke, the classroom door opened, and Daniel walked in. Evelyn noticed him immediately. He wasn't the kind of guy who went unnoticed, but what surprised her was the way he approached their desk. Daniel never talked to her. In fact, he rarely even spoke to Sarah, despite their occasional friendly exchanges. "Hey," Daniel said, stopping in front of them. His tone was casual, but his gaze lingered on Evelyn. "How are you doing?" Evelyn blinked, startled. I'm fine. Thanks." Daniel nodded, his expression unreadable. "Good. I just wanted to check on you. You know, with everything that's been going on." Evelyn exchanged a quick glance with Sarah, who shrugged slightly, just as puzzled as she was. Then Daniel's next words hit like a thunderclap. "Did Ryan give you a letter?" Evelyn froze, her heart pounding. Her grip on her notebook tightened. How do you know about that?" Daniel hesitated for a fraction of a second, but his face remained calm. "I overheard something," he said smoothly, his voice low. "Look, Ryan's my best friend. If he reached out to you, I just want to make sure you're okay. And if you need help with anything, I'm here." Evelyn felt the tension in the air, her mind racing. She didn't know what to make of Daniel's sudden interest. He had never shown any inclination to talk to her before, let alone ask personal questions. And the way he brought up the letter, it felt deliberate. "Thanks," she said cautiously, her voice steady despite the storm of emotions inside her. "But everything's fine." Daniel smiled faintly, his eyes flicking briefly to her notebook before he turned to leave. "All right. Just remember, I'm here if you need anything." As soon as he was gone, Evelyn turned to Sarah, her voice a frantic whisper. "What was that about? Why would Daniel ask me about the letter? He's never even talked to me before." Sarah frowned, her eyes narrowing as she stared at the door Daniel had just walked through. "Something's off. I don't trust him." Evelyn nodded, her heart still racing. "He said he overheard something, but what if he didn't? What if Ryan's father told him?" Sarah's jaw tightened. "If that's the case, we need to be careful. Whatever Ryan's trying to tell you, it's more important than we realized." "Lunchtime, Evelyn. We're going to figure this out." Evelyn nodded again, clutching her notebook as if it held the answers to everything. Suspicion hung thick in the air, and for the first time, she realized just how deep she was in, caught between Ryan's secrets, his father's probing, and now, Daniel's unexpected interest. Whatever was happening, it was only getting more dangerous. After the school day ended, Evelyn and Sarah found themselves tucked away in a quiet corner of the school library. A stack of books surrounded them, but their focus was on the book and the letter Ryan had sent to Evelyn. The weight of Ryan's cryptic message hung heavy in the air as they pored over every word, trying to unravel its meaning. Evelyn leaned closer to Sarah, whispering, "Ryan said his best moment was when he opened up to me under the tree. He didn't say that just to be poetic. What if there's something there?" Sarah looked up, her eyes narrowing in thought. "Under the tree? You mean the one behind the gym, right?" Evelyn nodded. "Yes, that's where we talked. What if he left something there, something he couldn't tell me directly?" Sarah sat back, her expression shifting from confusion to determination. "Then we need to go there. Now." The late afternoon sun cast long shadows across the school grounds as Evelyn and Sarah made their way to the tree. It stood tall and quiet, its branches stretching outward like a sentinel guarding its secrets. Evelyn's heart raced as they approached, her mind swirling with possibilities. When they reached the base of the tree, Evelyn crouched down, running her fingers over the ground. The soil looked slightly disturbed, as if someone had been there recently. "There's something here," Evelyn murmured, glancing back at Sarah. "Cover me. Keep an eye out." Sarah nodded, standing a few feet away and scanning the area for any prying eyes. Evelyn began digging with her hands, her heart pounding with every handful of dirt she removed. The soil was soft, and it didn't take long before her fingers scraped against something solid. "Evelyn!" Sarah hissed, glancing nervously around. "Hurry!" Evelyn dug faster, her hands trembling. Finally, she unearthed a small metal box, worn and slightly rusted. She pulled it out and brushed off the dirt, her breath hitching as she held it up for Sarah to see. "What is it?" Sarah asked, rushing to her side. "I don't know," Evelyn replied, her voice barely a whisper. She examined the box, her fingers finding a latch on the side. It clicked open with surprising ease, revealing a bundle of folded papers, a small key, and a photograph. Evelyn and Sarah exchanged a glance, their curiosity mounting. Evelyn reached for the papers first, unfolding them carefully. The handwriting was Ryan's. "What does it say?" Sarah asked, leaning in. Evelyn's eyes scanned the first page, her heart sinking as she read the words aloud. "If you're reading this, it means I couldn't tell you everything in person, but I trust you, Evelyn, more than anyone else." Her voice faltered as she looked at Sarah. "This is bigger than I thought." "What about the key?" Sarah asked, pointing to the small silver key nestled in the box. "I don't know yet," Evelyn admitted, holding it up to inspect it. "But if Ryan left this here, it has to mean something. We need to figure out what this unlocks." Sarah nodded, her expression resolute. "We will. But first, we need to get out of here before anyone sees us." Evelyn quickly closed the box, tucking it into her bag as they stood and brushed the dirt from their hands. As they walked away from the tree, Evelyn couldn't shake the feeling that they were now part of something far bigger than themselves, something that Ryan had trusted only her to uncover. From a distance, Daniel watched Evelyn and Sarah crouched under the tree. His heart pounded as he saw Evelyn dig into the ground and pull out a small metal box. His curiosity turned to alarm. "What are they doing?" he thought, the weight of Ryan's father's instructions pressing down on him. Without a second thought, Daniel slipped away before they noticed him. He sprinted toward the parking lot, hopped on his bike, and pedaled furiously to Ryan's house. He couldn't shake the sense that whatever Evelyn had found could change everything. When he arrived, he knocked urgently on the door. Ryan's father answered, his brows furrowing at the sight of Daniel out of breath. "What is it?" Mr. Turner asked, his voice calm but wary. "It's Evelyn," Daniel blurted. "She and Sarah found something under the tree, some kind of box. I think it's important." Mr. Turner's eyes narrowed. "A box? Are you sure?" Daniel nodded. "They dug it up. I didn't see what was inside, but I thought you'd want to know." Mr. Turner's jaw tightened and he grabbed his coat. "Thank you, Daniel. You've done the right thing. I'll handle it." On their way home, Evelyn and Sarah couldn't wait any longer. The curiosity was too overwhelming. Evelyn opened the box carefully, her hands trembling as Sarah leaned closer. Inside, they found a small memory chip and a stack of old photographs. Evelyn pulled out the first photo and gasped. It was a picture of a baby being held by a man with a kind smile. "Is this Ryan?" Sarah asked, her voice filled with curiosity. "I think so," Evelyn replied, staring at the photo. "He must have been a baby here." They continued flipping through the photos. The next one showed the same man standing beside Ryan's father and mother, all three smiling at the camera. "Maybe this man is Ryan's uncle?" Sarah suggested. "He's standing so close to Ryan's parents." Evelyn nodded. "That's possible, but why would Ryan leave this for me?" As Evelyn examined the envelope further, something fell out. She bent down and picked it up. It was small and metallic, a memory chip. "Is that a memory chip?" Sarah asked, her voice now tinged with unease. Evelyn studied it for a moment. "I think so." Sarah bit her lip, her eyes darting nervously. "Evelyn, this is getting serious. We need to check out what's on that chip. It might explain all of this." Evelyn nodded, closing the box carefully. "Let's go. We'll figure it out at my house." The mystery unfolds. Once they arrived at Evelyn's house, the air was thick with tension. Evelyn placed the box on her desk while Sarah paced the room nervously. "I need to use the toilet," Sarah said suddenly, her voice shaky. "Go ahead," Evelyn replied, sitting at her desk and pulling out her laptop. She inserted the memory chip, her heart pounding as the computer began processing the data. Minutes passed in silence as Evelyn stared at the screen. She hadn't even had a chance to open the files when there was a knock at the door. "Evelyn!" her younger sister called out. "There's a man here. He says he's your boyfriend's father. He's looking for you." Evelyn froze, her mind spinning. Ryan's father? How does he know I'm here? Sarah emerged from the bathroom, her face pale. "What's happening?" she asked, noticing Evelyn's tense expression. Evelyn stood up slowly, her hands trembling. "I don't know, but Ryan's father is here." The room filled with a suffocating silence as Evelyn and Sarah exchanged a look, both realizing that whatever they had stumbled upon was much bigger and much more dangerous than they had imagined. "I'll go meet Ryan's father," Evelyn said, standing abruptly. Her heart was pounding, but she tried to keep her voice steady. "You stay here and continue with the files." Sarah looked up, worry etched on her face. "Are you sure? What if he knows—" "I'll handle it," Evelyn interrupted, her voice firmer now. "Just don't stop. We need to figure out what's on that chip." Sarah hesitated but nodded, turning her attention back to the computer. Evelyn took a deep breath and walked downstairs, her nerves on edge. When Evelyn entered the living room, she froze. Ryan's father was already sitting comfortably on the couch, his posture casual but his expression unreadable. The sight of him in her home sent a chill down her spine. "Ah, Evelyn," he said, a small, tight smile on his lips. "Sorry, I made myself comfortable while waiting for you." Evelyn swallowed hard, her mind racing. "What are you doing here?" Ryan's father leaned forward slightly, his eyes piercing. "I'm here for the box you dug out." Her stomach dropped. "How do you know about the box?" He chuckled lightly, but there was no warmth in his tone. "You ask too many questions, young lady. Let's just say I know more than you think. I saw you and your friend opening the box. That's why I'm here." Evelyn's voice faltered. "That's strange." Ryan's father's expression hardened. He cut her off sharply. "Listen carefully. Be careful what you're getting yourself into. I believe Ryan wanted you to give the box to me. So, quietly go and get it." Evelyn's throat went dry. She stared at him, her mind a whirlwind of fear and confusion. "Now," he said firmly, his tone leaving no room for argument. "And don't remove anything." Feeling cornered, Evelyn nodded slowly and turned to head upstairs. Her legs felt like lead as she climbed the steps, her mind spinning. How had he known about the box? Had someone told him, or had he been watching them all along? When she reached her room, Sarah looked up, her face pale. "What's happening?" Evelyn closed the door quietly and whispered, "Ryan's father knows. He's here. He saw us with the box." Sarah's eyes widened. "What does he want?" "The box," Evelyn replied, her voice trembling. "He says Ryan wanted me to give it to him. But we haven't—" Sarah began. Evelyn held up a hand, silencing her. "Keep going with the files. I'll figure this out." As Sarah reluctantly turned back to the computer, Evelyn grabbed the box, her heart pounding. She couldn't shake the feeling that whatever Ryan's father was after, it wasn't for the reasons he claimed. But she had no choice. For now, she would have to play along and hope she could uncover the truth before it was too late.